So, good afternoon to everyone. My name is Maria Cecilia Mancini. I'm from the University of Parma. I'm very glad to introduce you to this first thematic webinar for this virtual fair, Unismartitaly, Study and Work with Italy, which is organized by the Conference of Italian University Rectors, CRUI, and the Italian Trade Agency, ICE, with the support of the Embassy of Italy in Vietnam and Uni-Italia, the association promoting the Italian higher education abroad. So I wish to thank them all for their great efforts in organizing this wonderful event. So the topic of this webinar is sustainability and innovation for the agri-food chains. The Italian higher education system meets the challenge. You are now going to listen to 4 presentations, and then I will open the floor for your comments or any question you may have, and by chat box or switching, let's say, raising your hands and switching on the microphone. So the first speaker is Gianni Gallaverna from the University of Parma. He's the coordinator of the master course degree in food safety and food risk management at University of Parma, sure, and he's full professor of food chemistry. He will provide us with an overview of the main challenges faced by the modern agri-food system, with a particular focus on the new legislative approach adopted by the European Union towards sustainability in the agri-food sector. Gianni?
Okay, thank you very much for this nice introduction. I will share my screen. Do you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. My name is Gianni Gallaverna. I am professor of food chemistry at the University of Parma. It is, of course, a great pleasure to meet you online today and to open this webinar dedicated to the possibilities offered by the Italian higher education system in the agri-food sector. To introduce the topic, we'll make an overview of the challenges and perspective the food sector has to face in the near future. The agri-food sector in Italy is the most relevant in Europe, with approximately 44 million jobs. If we consider the entire extended food chain, this is a driving force and the first economic sector for the Italian economy. Its turnover is 538 billion euros, which is more or less equal to the gross domestic product of Norway and Denmark, with 3.6 million employees in 2019, which are about 80% of total employees in Italy, and 2.1 million businesses. So what are the challenges for the future? We know that at global level, what we are now actually facing has been named the perfect storm, a phenomenon that is producing rapid, far-reaching and unprecedented changes in all aspects of our society. Projection to 2050 indicated that we will have 9 billion people to feed on our planet, and this implies we need to produce 60% more food in the next decades. This within a situation of high disparity between 3 billion people overweight and obese and 2 billion undernourished, and yet 25% of food is waste. So this implies also that producing food already uses 70% of water resources, 30% of energy, and it delivers 25% greenhouse gases, thus affecting the climate change. All these challenges are faced within the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development that was launched in 2015 to end poverty and set the world on a path of peace, prosperity, and opportunity for all on a healthy planet. In this case, actions for food are key to meet these ambitious objectives. And indeed, the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2020 brings together the latest data to show us that even before the COVID-19 pandemic, we were not on track to meet the goals by 2030. Some gains were visible. As an example, access to safely managed drinking water had improved, but at the same time, the number of people suffering from food insecurity was on the rise, the natural environment continued to deteriorate at an alarming rate, and dramatic levels of inequality persisted in all regions. Now, due to COVID-19, an unprecedented health, economic, and social crisis is threatening lives and livelihoods, making the achievement of goals even more challenging. In particular, we are facing disrupted healthcare and limited access to food and nutrition services, with logistical disruptions of supply chains, and many poorer countries are already experiencing acute food insecurity. We strongly need a robust and resilient food system that functions in all circumstances and capable of ensuring access to a sufficient supply of affordable food for citizens. In 2020, Europe has designed the Green Deal as an integral part of the EU Commission's strategy to implement the United Nations 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals. It is a new growth strategy that aims to transform the EU into a fair and prosperous society with a modern, resource-efficient and competitive economy where there are no net emissions of greenhouse gases in 2050 and where economic growth is decoupled from resource use. It also aims to protect, conserve and enhance the EU's natural capital and protect the health and well-being of citizens from environmental-related risks and impacts. At the same time, this transition must be just and inclusive, and what we need is a simultaneously environmental, economical, but also social sustainability. An integral part of this strategy is devoted to the food system, with the Farm to Fork strategy aimed at improving lifestyle, health, and environment. In particular, the aim is to make it easier to choose healthy and sustainable diets with benefit for consumers' health, of course, and quality of life, and reduction of health-related costs for society. The European goals are to reduce the environmental and climate footprint of the EU food system and strengthen its resilience, ensure food safety and food security in the face of climate change and biodiversity loss, and lead a global transition towards competitive sustainability from farm to fork and tapping into new opportunities. But what are the challenges? We have to consider three strongly interconnected pillars. The nutritional challenges may be met only adopting a more efficient but also sustainable primary production, as well as by reducing food waste. To solve these issues, we need a strong effort in technological innovation. So, as an example, as far as nutritional challenges, lots of people, and in particular children, suffer from malnutrition and the lack of access to sufficient vitamins and minerals. On the other side, poor diets have led to a global obesity pandemic, which with severe health consequences, for example, the incidence of diabetes, and there is a global need to new and healthy and sustainable food. If we consider the proportion, for example, of children under 5 years who are stunted and those who are overweight, we can see that an opposite situation, of course, occurs in developed and developing countries. For example, in sub-Saharan Africa, a prevalence of stunting is observed, whereas a prevalence of overweight is common in Europe and North America. Nevertheless, occurrence of overweight is also observed in developing countries, and this is often due to the fact that unhealthy diets are also often less expensive than healthy ones. So modern food technology may meet the challenge by producing new nutrition and healthy food, as well as functional foods, able to afford a more balanced and healthy diet for all. Thus, there is the issue for the promotion and adoption of healthy diets which is good for health and the planet. Indeed, by placing the health and the climate pyramids side by side, the double pyramid gives a simple and direct illustration of what a balanced, healthy, and sustainable diet looks like. At the bottom of the health pyramid are the foods that should be eaten most often, such as vegetables and fruits, whereas those at the top should be eaten in moderation. The climate pyramid shows how the production of products on animal origin, for example, makes the greatest contribution to climate change compared to products of plant origin, which have a lower environmental impact. This model aims to encourage the adoption of eating styles that are both healthy for humans and respectful for the planet, reducing the impact of food choices on the environment and climate change. And this may open a lot of opportunity for the food sector, inducing companies to widen their product portfolio, but it may be also the base of policy measures to increase awareness among consumers and to shift their behavior towards healthier and more sustainable diets. As far as agriculture, we know that data shows that it has a strong impact on the environment, being responsible of up to 30% of global greenhouse gas emissions and up to 70% of global freshwater withdrawals. As far as the climate change, I make this example. In this slide, you can see the climatic maps of my region, the Emilia-Romagna region, summarizing the average maximum temperature during summer and average minimum temperature during winter on the top and on the bottom. On the left, you can see the maps related to decades between 1971 and 1990, and on the right, the maps are related to the period between 1991 and 2015. As you can see, the average maximum summer temperature is much higher, indicated by the deep red color, and in some part of the region, temperatures are always below zero also during the entire winter season. So this sharp increase of the temperature resulted in productivity loss, invasion by alien species, new emerging microbiological risks, and of course it impairs the system resilience. It has to be considered that more than, as far as food safety issues, more than 600 million people fall ill and 420,000 die every year for food contamination. And the impact of unsafe food costs low and middle income economies more or less $110 billion US in lost productivity per year. And so the climate change is associated with an altered geographic occurrence and prevalence of food safety hazards. And we have also to face the emergence and spread of antimicrobial resistance. Thus, how can we obtain a sustainable intensification of our production, preserving food quality and safety? How can we produce better and in higher amount within a limited area without affecting the environmental equilibrium? As an example, more sustainable agriculture and livestock farming may be achieved by, for example, precision farming, exploiting the use of modern technologies such as the soil sensors and satellite monitoring. In addition, adoption of agroecological approaches may help in improving the agroecosystem services, preserving soil functions and fertility, as well as to reduce the biodiversity loss and reducing the negative impact, for example, of an excessive use of pesticides and fertilizers. Moreover, adoption of best practices in the livestock sector are fundamental within the so-called One Health approach or concept, which underlies the strong interconnection between the health status of our animals and that of man, thus promoting and supporting the fundamental issue of the animal welfare. There is also a potential contribution, of course, by biotechnology, which could give a fundamental contribution by allowing the fast selection of higher yielding, more nutritious, pest and disease resistant and climate smart crops, thus also opening new opportunities for new tailor-made crop varieties available for food production. The third pillar is about how to tackle with food loss and waste, both along the food supply chain as well as a consequence of consumers' behavior. Figures of annual food loss and waste are absolutely incredible and demand for action. To reduce waste before market access, a focus should be on developing the cold storage and transport infrastructure, for example, as well as to improve post-harvest best practices and treatments and storage technologies, and also exploiting the possibility offered by the digital technologies. To reduce waste after the market access, it could be useful to set up a redistribution of the leftover food supply chain surpluses from retailers, or to adopt best practice guidelines on food management, and to improve, for example, also the food labeling, for example, the date marking and so on. Also in this case, we need to invest in innovative processing, methodologies of shelf life improvement, use of smart packaging. Moreover, it is mandatory to look for new food and feed sources to face the nutritional needs of the growing world population. Also in this case, there is the opportunity to find new sources of high-value ingredients, for example, proteins, fats, for innovative food products. And finally, to reduce waste and to improve efficiency, the model of a circular bioeconomy is on the stage. We must move away from a linear economy, mostly based on production, use, and waste, to a new model based on reuse, recycling, and valorization of all the different components of a supply chain. And of course, these could be achieved by a strong integration and interconnection of different supply chains, exploiting biomasses, leftovers, secondary products from agriculture and food production, as a source of ingredients both for the agricultural and food sector, but also for industries in the pharmaceutical, chemical, and personal care fields, in order to meet the zero waste development goal. So the take-home message from this overview is that the diet environmental health trilemma is a global challenge. Changing course is critical as business as usual is no longer an option. We must rely on technological innovation as a tool to cope with food and agricultural challenges. And we have to think about the food of the future as a food good for health and good for the planet. So it is mandatory that research and innovation are key drivers in accelerating the transition to sustainable, healthy, and inclusive food system from primary production to consumption. Research and innovation can help develop and test solutions, overcome barriers, and uncover new market opportunities. For example, in Europe, Horizon Europe, the new funding program for the next 2021-2027 years, proposes to spend 10 billion euros on research and innovation on food, bioeconomy, natural resources, agriculture, fisheries, aquaculture, and the environment, as well as the use of digital technologies and nature-based solutions for agri-food. And in this field, the EU Commission skills agenda is being updated to ensure that the food chain has access to sufficient and suitably skilled labor. So we need, of course, capacity building, and this involves all the European universities. Beyond looking for the right occupation-specific skills, employers are increasingly also demanding transferable skills, such as the ability to work in a team, creative thinking, problem solving, and of course also the interdisciplinary profiles. People with the ability to combine work across different fields are increasingly valued by the employers, but are in short supply on the labor market. So at the end, I now leave the floor to my colleagues for illustrating how the Italian higher education system will meet these challenges and potentially offer you opportunity to pursue a career within the food system. So thank you for your kind attention.
Very good. Thank you so much, Gianni, for your meaningful presentation, which is, I think, very promising for discussion later on in this webinar. Now, next speaker is Paola Pia. She's professor in food science and technology at the University of Teramo. She will explore the skills and competencies provided by the Italian higher education system towards a modern and sustainable agri-food sector with a particular focus on food science and technology. Paola, prego.
Thank you very much. I hope you can, okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Gallagher. Really interesting introduction to the main topics of the food science and technology, and how somehow it's irrelevant and is absolutely important that we train and educate the future generation of workforce in the food sector. So actually, let's start with this brief introduction and the presentation dealing with the main skills and competencies for the current and the future market, job market, let's say, in the food sector. Actually, if we think and we look at the food production chain, we start from the primary production and with the different sectors from agriculture, farming, plant and animal production, and fisheries, and so on. And we pass through a series of steps by which we reach at the end the food service, which is us as main consumers at the end. From this point of view, it's absolutely important that who is working in this sector requires interdisciplinary and multi-sectoral competencies. Actually, we needed to know and have competencies and knowledge about the primary production and how is the quality of the raw materials produced from farming breed. breeding and other sectors, the processing and engineering competencies, quality and the characteristics of the products, as well as the microbiological properties and the safety and how to achieve a food, safe food for all the consumers, the distribution and logistics from one place to the other, and reach at the end our homes, our houses, where we use them for our everyday dishes, the marketing and business aspect, and obviously, last but not least, but actually this is at the top of the relevance and importance, health and nutrition. We have to think that food is as such only when it is possible to eat it. And from this point of view, we have to consider that we have to produce nutritious and safe food always. Actually, we have just listened the really interesting presentation of Professor Gallaverna, where new scenarios and challenges appeared in the landscape of the food production chain. Actually, now you could realize that the food production chain is not as simple as before, because there have been included a series of other factors and environments, like the recovery of the food wastes, as well as all the aspects related to the environmental and sustainability aspects that we have to take into account. Last but not least, we have also innovation. Innovation in the technology and in the food production is a relevant and key aspect that promotes the production of more healthy and high quality foods with the appropriate and adequate nutritional value that nowadays the new community of the consumer is requiring. In this respect, food security is a key element that we have not to forget. Health and well-being are relevant for us because it guarantees the well-being of our society and its economical growth. Actually, based on these, all these aspects, we can think about how to educate and train a food professional in the food production system. And from this point of view, we need the basic sectors, I call the sector, but actually we are related them to the food sector in specific, and then additional non-sector specific skills and competencies and knowledge. Starting from the basic ones, we need to have some basic knowledge in basic sciences like chemistry, inorganic, organic, analytical, maths and mathematics, biology and biochemistry that are the basis to train and learn about food technologies and engineering, all the aspects related to the food microbiology, safety and hygiene, the biotechnology, the food analysis, the agri-food business, the nutrition, packaging, but not only this, because we will see later on additional topics and disciplines which are relevant for the correct or the best education of a food scientist or food technologist. Actually, as also mentioned, is absolutely relevant that the students or the graduates achieve also professional or personal skills which are relevant to face the new challenges that the food system is acquiring, but also to implement all the abilities which are required to work in a more modern food system environment. So from this point of view, it's absolutely important to have practical abilities, entrepreneurial mindset, creativity, critical thinking, and problem solving. All of these aspects are relevant also because they allow us to be resilient in respect to the job market that nowadays is very fluctuant and absolutely not stable at all. Actually, new skills are required in terms of the sector ones. The food sector is requiring now more concepts related to the legislation. The sustainability concepts needed to be applied and to the food processing in order to reduce the environmental impact of the food production that we know as being relevant in this respect. Innovative technologies. Food product design is absolutely relevant for the development and to produce innovative products. Novel products as well, based also, for instance, on made of with the new natural sources that we are trying to recover in order to face also the food security aspects. Based on these general aspects related to the skills, competencies, and knowledge which are relevant to train and to educate the modern food professionals, what we can in Italy provide or are available in terms of higher education study programs. The study programs in Italy are divided in two levels, the first or a bachelor degree level, and the second, which comes after, and is the so-called second level or master degree. The first is 3 years, and the second is 2 years. And actually, we include, from this point of view, general study programs, both bachelor and master, in food science and technology, which are very general from the fact that they cover all the general aspects and all the general disciplines which are characteristics of the food production system. There are also a series of food-related study programs in which there are some specialities which are made more relevant in terms of contents, competencies, and skills which are provided. In Italy, we can find those study programs which are dealing with the viticulture and enology, the gastronomic sciences, which are a key element also of the Italian food system and Italian culture. As you know, it's well known all over the world that the Mediterranean diet that is based on a series of a larger number of traditional products with cultural background and history. And from this point of view, in these last years, several study programs have been developed also in this field. Food safety is another main area of specialization, along with food engineering, especially in the second level master degree. Just briefly, an overview of the map of Italy, where you can see where the different bachelor degree can be found. Actually, Italy is very rich in terms of the higher education offer in the food science and technology and food-related study programs. Actually, you can see here that we have available in different areas, in different aspects, more than 40 bachelor degree study programs in different places from the north to the south. As well, and a similar map can be seen here, where all the master degree study programs in the food and the food-related sectors are included. There are some, the ones that you have seen with the English flag, which are international and are taught in English. There are some which have also double degree with other international universities. At the end, what are the which is the job market or the roles that a graduate in food science and technology or food-related study programs can find. Actually, the different are the roles and the possibilities and the positions open in companies, in laboratories, in public and private and organizations dealing with the food production, food security, and the food nutrition, with the different possibilities and role from the food microbiology, nutrition and health, food processing engineering, new product development, food quality, quality control and assurance, food policy and sustainability, and last but not least, also the marketing and management. Actually, we have to think also to the future, so we have also to think to new skills and competencies for the new professions, that the new, challenges launched also by, in this case, the European Commission, but which are common globally all over the world, involve the fact that we have to deal more on informatics, on data scientists, data management, big data, IoT, and so on. And robotics, Industry 4.0 are all aspects that we have to deal in the future. And there are already some universities in Italy that are thinking how to modify, how to change the study programs to deal with the future. That's all from my side. And last recommendation and suggestion is to visit the Univers-Italy website for the full offer of the food, science and technology and food-related and as well as all the agricultural sciences, bachelor and master degree programs offered by the Italian universities. And here you have the link. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Paola. Here again, so much food for thought by your presentation. Here now is Antonella Baldi. She's full professor in animal nutrition and animal science at the Faculty of Veterinary Science of University of Milano. She will provide us with an insight related to the animal science higher education, but also animal science employment and research perspectives. Prego.
Can you see it? It's okay?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And also, I thank the colleagues who presented before me, because introduced very, very well all the food sector and the agriculture and food sectors in Italy. My focus today is related to the education in animal science with some spot also on employment and research. Well, we spoke about Mediterranean diet, and this is a typical dish where you can see that our diet is mainly composed by vegetables and fruits, cereals, but of course we have also a significant portion in food, meat, eggs, what we say food of animal origin, and of course milk and cheese. This is part of our tradition, as you can see very well in these nice and important pictures that is from an artist, Italian artist called Guttuso. And this you can see a market, a typical market of South Italy in Sicily, where you see that there are, of course, many different food, including fish. Of course, fish is more important in Italy and in our diet, but as well meat, you can see here, eggs, cheese and sausages, together with vegetables, cereals, and fruits. So these are two different ways to show how in our Mediterranean diet there is a balance between different food, as we heard before, is important for have healthy habits, healthy food, and also traditional food, because of course our culture is full of different dishes that come from our tradition. Well, let's see here what happened in a more global perspective. I told before that there is an important part in, of course, meat, eggs, sausage, chicken, and milk and cheese. And to do that, we have, of course, an increase in the number of, this is a project on meat production, and you can see that in Western country, there is a very increase, a very flat increase of production, while in fast-growing countries, the projections in meat production and meat animals production is increasing in the future years. Let's have a look to what is the Italian livestock production that you see is composed by chickens, cattle and buffaloes, cattle included dairy cows and beef cattle. So that means beef cattle for meat production, and of course dairy cows for milk and cheese production. Pigs, well, I know these are 8,500,000 of pigs in Italy right now. That is quite less than in Vietnam, because I know that you are a very high producer of pigs. And also, we have a significant amount of small ruminant animals, sheep and goats. Here is a sheep that is quite famous for the production of pecorino cheese, which is a typical production of Italian market. Well, in general, livestock production represents the 27% of Italian agri-food system gross sales. That means a very significant segment, market segment, but by the way, it's not only important the aspect, of course, of the number of livestock, but is especially important the amount of production, and not only the quantity, as we said before, but also the quality, because Italy is quite famous for the production of some typical food from animal origin, like, for instance, for pig production, ham. Parmesan from Parma ham is quite famous in the world, and for this reason our pigs are different, a little bit different from pigs from other areas in the world, because we produce what we call heavy pigs, that are pigs much more heavy than normal pigs for meat production, because we need heavier pigs to produce our very famous ham, that I hope also you in Vietnam maybe you know. And also about cattle production, of course we have beef meat, but we have a lot of dairy cows, and our dairy cows produce milk, and this milk is used mainly for cheese production. And specifically, we have a very famous cheese that is Parmesan cheese, but also other type of cheese, which are typical production from Italy. About chickens, you see we have a little bit of a small fluctuation, but what is important here is that the production of eggs in Italy and the production of poultry meat is complete auto-sufficient. That means that we do not need to import, because we produce enough to feed our Italian people. Well, now let's go more inside the education. You see a map. I'm sorry that I've missed a bullet point, sorry, because we have Sassari here, and so that I missed it during the transfer of the figure into the slide. We have, you see, 14 Italian universities in Italy, included this one in Sassari that is very famous for agriculture and veterinary departments, which can give the 3-year first cycle degree course in animal production. Animal science and animal production are the course, the denomination of the course, which prepare students to deal with livestock and also food of animal origin production. Of course, this distribution, you can see, is in all Italy, from the north to the south, and you have a quite high concentration in this part of Italy, because here is important for the production of food of animal origin, the typical production of food of animal origin, but everywhere you can find very, very good 3 cycles degree courses. At the same time, degree course what offer a very broad preparation on different topics and different subjects: agrotechnical system and livestock system of production, but also quality of the product and safety of the product of animal origin is quite important, because again, is not a matter of quantity, but is a matter of quality, and we want to produce a high level of good and safe food of animal origin. And all these aspects are related with a good management of livestock farms, health of our animal and how they are raised in the livestock farm, and also how they are fed and how is their genetics. Well, the natural and prevalent continuation of the studies is the master degree in animal and production cycles. That is a 2 years master degrees that again are offered by all these universities, included Sassari, that I forgot in the slide. Currently in Italy, there are 16 2-year master programs in animal science offered by 14 universities. And these courses are managed by departments of agricultural science or veterinary sciences, or jointly. Which are the topics? Well, I do not want to repeat what my colleagues said before, but many of the topics are very similar to the ones that they display, they show. Of course, we are focused on the sustainability. That means, of course, to increase efficiency of production, but at the same time, the use of the resources in agro-ecosystem. Quite important is to address the climate change, but also the biodiversity and other ecological and social services of agriculture connected with livestock production. Again, I said before, quality and typicality of agricultural product, food safety and healthy lifestyle, sustainable use of biological resources for energy and industrial purposes, and last but not least, the digital development and reorganization of the system agriculture in the field of livestock and animal production. ICT revolution enacted everywhere in the world, as well as in Italian agri-food chains, requires more and more digital skilled people, from the farm to the large-scale distributions. And this creates in this area really a very important area of employment. In fact, the employment scenario for high educated skilled people in the area of animal science and animal production, that is from feed to farm to food to fish, is quite a future. We forecast that all the current students in animal science and veterinary science will have a real chance to find job and have a good career. Well, what is our real life in teaching animal science? Well, of course, we have classes like this one. This is a small group. Of course, we have also large classes for basic disciplines like mathematics, chemistry, and so on. But we try also to organize small groups which can address more focused and challenge-based topics to create the capacity to deal with the real life problems in the field. Of course, we are in the field. Here are two students. They are collecting some forages here to make analysis and to make their thesis work. And in this case, it's quite important also the laboratory groups. People here are a group of students with a feed samples that they are going to analyze in our laboratory. Because I have to say that in Italy, the courses in animal science have a quite practical approach, which includes, of course, large educational spaces in laboratory, but also in field, because here is a visit of our students to a beef farm. As you can see, on-site visits is quite important in our education process. And also is important on-site visits, not only at livestock level, but also at the level of production, of productive level of our food of animal origin. In this case, is Parmesan cheese, as I told before. And of course, I would like to say that we have really a different type of possibilities in Italy. As you saw before, we have 16 different universities that offer courses in animal science and also veterinary science. For those of you who are more interested in veterinary medicine, how to find out this possibility? Visit our Università website. You have to select course search here. And then you can enter in this page, and in this page you can select the degree, in the case first cycle degree, zoology. That is not quite a very good translation, but that's it. This is the 3 years bachelor course in animal science. Or you can, if you are interested in veterinary sciences, which is a 5 years degree, you have to select also here in this flag as a single cycle degree. But I have to say that veterinary science in Italy has to be enrolled, the students must overcome a test, a national test, before be accepted through a list graduatory of students who pass the test, overcome the test. Of course, you can also be interested in master degree. In this case, you have to flag to enter here, second cycle degree. You see livestock management. This is the denomination of most of the master degree, but you can find also other solution, other possibility. This is examples. If you are an international student, sorry to be Italian here, but anyway, this means courses with an international profile. You have to flag here. And in this case, for instance, you can see some examples of courses. This is offered in English by University of Naples, Pisa, and of Sassari that I told you before. So this is an example of how you can visit and find out courses, all type of courses, but in the case specifically in the master degree in animal science. And finally, this is 3 students of mine in experimental facilities, because as I told before, this is quite important for our education approach to our students. These are theses, of course, in pigs. And with this nice slide, I would like to thank you for your attention and hoping to see you in Italy in the near future.
Okay, thank you very much, Antonella. I think we had a quite comprehensive overview of Italian higher education system in food science and technology and animal science. But now I'm very, very glad to give the floor to Ilaria Tourati. She's the president of Tourati Group, an Italian company of the food and beverage machinery sector. And she will tell us about the most in-demand profiles and professional skills looked for by companies of these sectors. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Ciao. Ciao to the Vietnamese. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. So first of all, so thanks for your invitation, the marvelous page, to invite I wanted to give you some words about Tourati Group in order to introduce what Tourati Group produces. Established 100 years ago in Cavazzere, that is Venice in the north of Italy. And we manufacture this line for food, fruit and vegetables processing. In some words, that means you ever seen packet of wheat salads or fruit? We produce machinery to cut, wash, and dry them. So, Tourati Group, as I told you, has a headquarters in Italy, in Venice, and we have two branches, so one in California, in Salinas, and one in Hanoi, where I am the president. And I'm very honored to be the president of these new branches established in 2017. In Vietnam, we produce standard machineries for fruit, tropical fruit processing. I wanted to divide what we do. Our main work is as I told you, we produce machinery for tailor-made line for food, fruit and vegetables. But we have also a division for wine and a division for nutraceutical. That means we make extraction for moringa or canapa, for nutraceutical and pharmacy things. We have a stage of our clients from big multinational like Dole, Bondwell, or I don't know, Marizone, and many KFC, that we sold a complete line for mango from Vietnam to Philippines, KFC, all the KFC shops. Tourati Group, as I told you, has a very long history. My grandfather established this company, and you said how you are still in the market, because we innovated every year some product, new product, because for food is extremely important to innovation. Innovation, that means new product. So you have to understand what your clients' needs are and what are the population needs. So we are extremely looking to hire mechanical engineer for these things, assembly workers, sales manager, automation programmer, and a chemistry engineer. There are some figures that we need to have, because it's very important to cover all over the world, because we sell all our lines all over the world, from USA to Australia, New Zealand, Africa, and all over the Europe. So the most important things that I want to give you some suggestion, my dear Vietnamese student. You have to learn more language that you need, because knowing languages, they open the world. You can understand what exactly the other person needs. So learning languages. So Italian is one of the languages you have to learn, because in Italy we can find everyone, from food to tourism to culture, and a creativity in mechanical attitude. That's very important. Have you seen in Emilia-Romagna region, we are the most important packaging industry in the world, and also in Veneto, the food industry, and so you have to learn languages. I want to give you some would like to advise you some little suggestion when you will be hired from a company. First of all, you have to be curious. Curious, that means being hungry of learning information and make memory of that. You have to be working in a team, because sharing ideas create great ideas and make your work very good, because living together and sharing ideas, they make great job. And last but not the least, you have to be humble. Why humble? Because humble means you have to learn everything from your partner in the work, at the university, with a humble attitude. Because what we see now when we hire new employee, is that when they are they have this attitude, I know everything, I have a college degree, and you have not to say I'm wrong. I want to give you some example of what I'm saying. As I told you, I'm the president of Tourati Pacific in Vietnam, but I've studied Oriental languages at the university in Venice. And when I decided to work with in a company of my father company, my father said, okay, well, you are graduated, that's good, but you don't know anything about what we do. And I say, yes, correct, Daddy. So when I started, I say, okay, your first year will be in the warehouse. So packaging, looking the materials, and make your hands dirty. That means you have to work. Then when I learn all the parts, assembly parts, I start to be in the purchasing department for 12 years. And where I created the service department, so all the after sales. And after this long experience, my father say, okay, now you are ready to go to the sales department. And now you can speak your Hindi if you want, and you can, I decide to take the Far East, Middle and Far East countries in order to look for a work. And I decided to open the Hanoi branch, because I think that Vietnam is one of the most creativity and very young person. There's a very young population, and you are in the middle of the ASEAN country. You are in the middle of the ASEAN country, so it's very easy to cover Thailand, Korea, or Japan, and also Australia. So my guys in Hanoi are very well trained. They come in Italy in this period, unfortunately not, but usually they come twice for a year in order to learn the new machineries, in order to learn how assemble well our machineries. And I finish sorry, I want to conclude to my speech, and I hope that I have not get bored too much, and I would like to share all my wishing for a very good life. I hope to see you in Italy, and please stay safe in this period. Come on.
Thank you very much for your wise tips and suggestions. Thank you, really. Okay, now it's time for comments, for questions. You can either type them in the chat box, or just raise your hand and open up the microphone. Is there any comment, any question by the participants of the webinar?
May I say one thing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to say that this kind of webinar that will be together with university and the companies are very good, because only to give a synergy, to have a synergy together, we can create, we can suggest more the new people that come to work with us. That will be, and we have to make more of them. On the other, it's a suggestion of my colleague too from the other companies needs. I'm sorry, just only to say that.
You're right.
And the
You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, any comment, any question? I don't see any raised hand, no chat box.
There is one.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so yes, sorry, I don't see it, but anyway, please go on.
Mercado,
sì.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Please go on.
I don't know if he has the microphone switch on, or maybe it was a mistake.
Yes, maybe she.
Or probably
working.
You know what? Just to break the ice, I would like to ask you something. You know, maybe students might like to know something more about to what extent, how the student get in touch with the companies, with farms, with the production and manufacturing system, you know, during their degree courses. I mean, the question can be for all of you, professors of the university.
Well, maybe I can just answer for the food science and technology study programs in general. There are several opportunities in general. The study programs, both a bachelor and master degree, includes also internships in the company. And this is the most of the study programs you have seen in the map include this as a curricular step. There are also opportunities to develop the projects with the companies for the thesis, for the final work that has to be done for the thesis. And last but not least, as a third opportunity, there are many universities that organize career days or orientation days or placement days. And there are also some organized at national level where the companies, the industries or the factories, I mean the companies and enterprises get in touch with the students, and there could be some exchange of opportunities. And this is carried out within the study program. And most of the universities actually in Italy are investing a lot on this kind of activities.
Very good. Okay, there's a message. Thank you very much, Paola. There's a question in the chat box. I just want to ask, how can I relate my major to food industry? Like, any suggestions for any master degree program? Wow. Yeah.
Maybe we can answer that. There is a very nice web portal, Univers-Italy, and of course from that website you can select. I showed before the different topics, and then you can enter directly to the link of each universities that you see are many, but of course it deserves to be visited. But I suggest that all students interested is entering through the Universitali portal and then go to the link of the universities that you think is much more your expectation, but also to visit and to make a sort of Googling and looking around in that specific university website where you can find all the information, because as we tried to show you, there is a different also even if there is a similarity, each university can offer slight different type of courses, which some specificity according also to the region of Italy they are located.
Cecilia, you have to switch on the microphone.
Sorry. Okay, thank you. Sorry. Now, I was just suggesting to ask for appointments, to set appointments the next week to the universities, for having more details about the degree courses that our Italian system can offer. That's all. Okay, I see also a suggestion in the chat box. Very good.
Because different disciplines or environments can have different codes, so just for to make it easy. Like Antonella was suggesting, zoology for all the animal production and all the livestock master degree courses.
Okay. Any other question or any comment, doubt, suggestion, or whatever?
And no. Sorry, that's for sure. If there's someone that from your course, a university course, a master, or the formal course, we are very glad if they wanted to come to our company in order to have stages. We normally, if it will be possible, and this pandemic, time will be finished. Normally in our company, during the stage, we accept all from all over the world. And from Vietnam, we have been, I think, 10 students from all the university in Vietnam, especially with the Hanoi. Yeah, Hanoi University, Hanoi University.
Good. I see one raised hand by Giulietta. Please go on.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, my nickname Julia because I have a Vietnamese name, so I don't prefer to speak because I think it's very hard for you. So can I talk? Yeah, because I enter this webinar playlist, so I couldn't hear before, but I very interested in with this topic. So I read it with my major circularity and what and quality of food in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. I have a question with them. How can I say sorry? Because I very curious. Some companies. Yeah, some company in Italian, when they hire a person tour with how can I say, what kind of person that you are finding for this sector of food? Yeah, I mean, if I read it, yeah, in Vietnam, and I I can have a chance, I can get a chance to work with you. I mean the company in Italian. Yeah. Thank you. I hope that because I'm very how can I say? Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone? Antonella?
I think Giulietta, if I understood well, would like to know how can be recruited eventually or work in Italy in that field. What is the possibilities and also the obstacles maybe? Maybe the company can answer better than me about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, let me calm. Yeah. sorry. I need to calm because I before I talk, sorry, all of you. So I mean, if I want to work, yeah, with some company foods in Italian, yeah, I need to study more 1 degree, yeah, to suitable with you, or I can use my diploma when that I read it in Vietnam. Yeah, that's my question. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank
now,
you.
Now it's more clear.
Much clearer, of course.
Well, maybe I can reply. It depends obviously on your diploma. It depends on the position. So depending on the field of the company and your expertise, I mean, the ones that you got from your diploma, if it is already a food industry oriented, or it is more food and nutrition, or food technology, and then depending on the positions offered by the company. In general, there is no limitation, and then depends on what the company is looking at. Maybe Ilaria Tourati can also reply better than me.
Sorry, because I have a problem with the microphone. I'm sorry, and correct. It depends on what you want to do, because we are. I speak for my company. We manufacture machinery, so we need engineer mechanical on food industry, and it's not important how many degrees do you have, but you obviously, if you have a very well degree or international one, it's very important, because if you have an international one, it's more easy for you and for us to communicate. So first of all, what we are looking is your attitude at the work, and especially language you can speak. So learn language, it's very important, and it depends on what you want, because food industries are very kind of a food industry, so it's depends on what you need to do. That's for my sector is mechanical attitude, or sales attitude, but for mechanical parts. And but I have some colleagues that produce pasta, or produce cake, or produce I don't know, any kind of food in Italy. You know, we are very famous for our food, and so it depends. Probably we need agronomists. They need food engineer, and that's what it depends on what you need. But don't worry about the degree, how many degrees you have. Don't worry about that. You have to study, because study is important for the basis. Later works in other things. The important is to study, to learn the theory very well, and then you start to work.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any other question? Comment? No. Okay, I just want to say to the students that this webinar has been recorded, so it's available on the website, on the platform of the virtual fair, so they can listen it to again and again. Okay.
We can also add that we leave our contacts as email, so if they need to contact us, they can, of course, exploit this possibility.
Absolutely.
Good idea. Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I think that sorry for no problem. Don't worry. Thank you. Thank you. And I think we can conclude this webinar now. I want to thank you all for your participation and for your interesting presentation. And I wish you a good day. Thank you all. And thank you, Dottoressa Tourati in particular, for your participation.
Anna, thank you.
Bye-bye to
Thank you
everybody.
all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.